Welcome to the Wall of Soundtrack, a show where we discuss the music and soundtracks behind the very best TV shows and motion pictures. In this episode, we'll be analyzing and dissecting the music and soundtrack behind Mike Marvin's 1986 action thriller, The Wraith. The Wraith is an action thriller film that was written and directed by Michael Marvin and released in 1986. The story takes place in the town of Brooks, Arizona, where a young teen returns from the dead as a powerful street racer to seek revenge on the gang that murdered him. The film also had a cast of upcoming stars including Charlie Sheen, who plays Jake Kesey, Sherilyn Fenn, who plays Carrie Johnson, Randy Quaid, who plays Sheriff Loomis, Ron Howard's brother, Clint Howard, who plays Rughead, and Nick Cassavetes, who plays Packard Walsh. My returning guest for this discussion is Cy Shackelford. Cy is a writer for the entertainment commentary and review website, Action A Go Go. You can follow his articles on the website, www.actionagogo.com, and you can also follow him on Twitter. His Twitter handle is @Shack_House83. Cy and I had a blast doing this episode and really enjoyed talking about this cult classic film. Here's my discussion with Cy on the music and soundtrack behind the 1986 action thriller, The Wraith. All right, Cy, nice to see you again.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me, Andrew.
I want to just say congratulations to the Patriots for winning the Super Bowl again.
6-time Super Bowl champions. I told you, Tom Brady is Thanos now. I've been saying that from the beginning of the season.
Do you think Gronk is going to retire, or you think he's going to come back next season?
He's going to be back next season, but personally, I think he should retire. I mean, he doesn't touch none of his NFL money. He's gotten rich off of his endorsements pretty much, and he hasn't pissed anybody off either. So if he were to retire now, I would not be mad. I would completely understand.
He's like dating an Instagram model, isn't he, or something? Or
she looks like one, but then again, aren't they all Instagram models these days? Look at Cardi B.
Yeah, seriously. And then, of course, you know, Robert Kraft and his shenanigans.
Yeah, he was. It's a good segue we made from Cardi B to Bob Kraft because she was on stage dancing with Kraft, or Kraft jumped on stage dancing with her at the pre-Super Bowl concert.
Oh, jeez.
And Kraft, if he is guilty, it's like, why? You got that hot girlfriend you got already, and you a billionaire. Yeah. You don't need to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, still don't understand that about, like, he's super wealthy. What does he need to be doing that? Getting involved in that?
He does not need to at all. Personally, I hope he's innocent, but they say they got a videotape of it. For now, I'm just going to keep on saying it's doctored footage. But no matter what happens to him, really, it doesn't affect the team as a whole.
Yeah. I don't think much is going to come from it because, I mean, he's
a fine maybe, or maybe Roger Goodell, because he's had it in for the Patriots from Jump Street.
Yeah. I think he'll probably get a fine, or maybe like, you know, I don't even think he'll get legitimate jail time at all. I mean,
no, I don't think so neither, unless they make it a RICO prosecution.
Yeah, and if it's that bad, then you know he's in for some dire straits.
Yeah, he ain't even the biggest name on the list, though. I heard. I mean, I looked at the list. I'm like, who is bigger on here than Kraft? Kraft is the only name I recognize.
Yep, must be a big string, but you know, time will tell, and we'll see what happens. But what's new with Action A Go Go?
Oh, what we're doing? We're celebrating Black History Month. I got a piece coming out where I go through my top 10 favorite blaxploitation films. And a week ago, I released a review on a very indie film called Driving While Black.
Okay.
Yeah, it's done by a comedian named Dominique. I forget his last name. It was pretty low budget though, but it's like Friday, but it's about white cops always pulling over black or Hispanics. It's very comedic. Okay.
Yeah, and then you have Spike Lee's film
Black Klansman.
Yeah,
which is nominated for Best Director.
Yeah.
Is that the first time Spike Lee has gotten a Best Director Oscar nod, or has it been for Do the Right Thing and Malcolm X as well?
I think so, but I'm really surprised. I thought he would have won for Malcolm X because I thought that film was just phenomenal.
It was good. Nobody can do a Malcolm X biopic again after that.
Yeah, and I mean, we went over Ali, and then Mario Van Peebles. I think he did a pretty good job, but Denzel, Denzel just brings his A game.
Denzel can act, no doubt, but Peebles, he looked more the part of Malcolm X, really. He had that light complexion and the redness in his hair.
Yeah.
A little bit too.
Yeah. But yeah, well, maybe Spike Lee comes away with the win on this.
Maybe. I mean, they've been really friendly to a lot of films this year that I wouldn't even think would get Oscar nods. Like Black Panther, that's up for Best Picture among other awards.
Yeah.
What else? Bohemian Rhapsody, that's another one as well too. Although Rami Malek, he did a great job as Freddie Mercury.
I always remember him from The Pacific, that HBO series. It's kind of like Band of Brothers. Tom Hanks was the producer for it, and Steven Spielberg.
I remember.
But yeah, and he's in that. He's got a small part in that, but he plays kind of a psycho. Like
he has that look about him, just like that's made him perfect for Mr. Robot.
Yeah, and I've never seen that show, but I definitely want to see that show as well because I heard it's pretty good.
You might. As a computer guy, I think you might enjoy it.
Yeah, but yeah. So I'm trying to think of like new movies that are coming out. I mean, I don't. There's one I believe it's like Rocket Man.
Where the Elton John biopic?
Yeah.
Where Eddie Redmayne, the guy who played Stephen Hawking, I think he's going to play Elton John.
Okay. Yeah.
It looks good. I'm going to go see that. I'm an Elton John fan. What else? The Lego movie came out the Lego movie sequel part 2 came out 2 weeks ago. And what else is coming out? The Us, Jordan Peele, the writer and director of Get Out. This is his second feature film he's coming out with, Us, where it has that I got 5 on it, that creepy rendition of that in the trailer. It's another one of his horror racial satire films.
Did you get a chance to see Green Book at all?
No, I did not. I saw parts of it. Scenes of it on the internet, but I did not see the whole thing. My mother keeps asking me if I've seen Green Book too.
Yeah. Mahershala Ali, man, he is just...
Yeah, Mahershala Ali, he's a good actor.
He's on a roll, man. I mean, he's just like doing all these great movies and then doing True Detective.
Yeah, and speaking of which, it was Mahershala, he convinced Nick Pizzolatto to make the lead character a black character on there. And have some kind of racial undertones in it as well too.
And it's an interesting story because it takes place in the Ozarks.
Yeah, in Northwest Arkansas. Yeah.
So you get that kind of creepiness like from the first season where you're in Louisiana, but this is like kind of a different backdrop, different geography. It's like mountainous instead of being like the low country. Yeah, like the low country.
But still the South though. Yeah.
Yeah. And both of them are Vietnam veterans, which I think was pretty prevalent during those times, right? Like a lot of like Vietnam veterans became police officers.
In law enforcement, yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. And he was a
LRC, long range reconnaissance patrol.
Yeah.
Where he'd be deep in enemy territory by himself for a long time.
Yeah. And then I guess you saw those skills. With using those skills, he found the
boy.
Yeah. Just pretty crazy. I'm still not through it entirely yet.
You said you were on episode 6. I won't give you any spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, what are your thoughts so far about it? Like,
I love it. I mean, season 1, that still reigns supreme. And season 2, good in his own right, but season 3 is better than season 2.
Yeah.
The acting is better, and the plot, I think Nick Pizzolatto, he really went back to the season 1's Southern Gothic feel because he's from Louisiana, which played a big part in season 1's geography. And season 3 is in Arkansas, and he went to school at the University of Arkansas, so it's also familiar territory for him as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but the acting has been good. Mahershala Ali, Stephen Dorff, who I didn't even know was still alive.
Yeah, I remember him from like Blade.
I remember him from Blade and Judgment Night from '93. And Carmine Hogo, who plays Mahershala's wife. Yeah, she's criminally underrated.
Yeah, she's really good looking as well too.
Yeah, she is. She is very good looking.
Last film I remember Stephen Dorff actually being in was Public Enemies.
Oh yeah, with Christian Bale and
yeah, I
remember that. I was gonna say as a callback to another podcast we did earlier, Carmine Hogo, she used to be married to Jeffrey Wright, who played what's his name, Howard Bingham in
the photographer, the photographer, yeah, and he's a great actor as well.
He's a chameleon. When I first saw him in Shaft when I was in high school, I went to the theater to see that, and he played the Dominican drug lord Peoples Hernandez, and then I see the credits and like Jeffrey Wright, that he's Anglo or what is he? Then I learned he was black, but I'm like, he played the hell out of that Dominican role. He had me believing he was Dominican.
I believe he was also in like Syriana as well.
He was in that Boycott where he played Martin Luther King and where he met his wife, Carmine Hogo, who's played Coretta Scott King twice already in Selma and Boycott.
Oh wow, jeez, that's yeah. She's seems like she's getting a lot of great roles too, and it'll be interesting to see like how they kind of end the third season. But what I like is that they're kind of going back to the formula from the first season, and they don't have as many actors. Like there were too many characters, I feel like, in the second season, and it just got so complex, the storyline.
I mean, in season 2, it did get complex. And the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, I really don't get it at all. Even by the end, it's like, I really don't get this at all. I mean, we found who the killer was, but that doesn't mean anything compared to what they later showed in that season finale. But when I watched it a second time, it made sense all the way through. I was able to process who the characters were, where they fit in. But you're right, Andrew. Season 3 does take season 1's narrative format with the 3 different time periods. And they did a hell of a makeup job on Mahershala when he's an older man by 2015.
Yeah. And I mean, there's still a lot of, I feel like watching it, there's a lot of mystery, even, me being on the 4th or you said 6th episode, excuse me, the plot still isn't, unfolded fully yet. I mean, you feel like there's just still more there.
Gotta catch up. Catch up. You got one more episode that's available, and the final one will be tomorrow night.
Wow. Yeah. So definitely check out True Detective, right?
Oh yes, check out True Detective. Time is a flat circle.
So what else? What else is going on with Action A Go Go?
Oh, we're doing the other thing we're doing after Black History Month is we might do like a spy issue. We've already gone physical with the magazines. And the one issue that we did before was Women in Action, where we go off on different areas where women are prevalent in action or have made an impact, be it in action films, TV, comic books, or even behind the scenes as writers and directors and whatnot, like Catherine Bigelow did for The Hurt Locker.
Yeah. I mean, she's done some really great films. She did like Point Break, right?
Point Break, yeah, and that was the only Point Break people need to see, not that remake nonsense.
Yeah, and then she did Zero Dark 30
and a Near Dark, a vampire movie from the late 80s.
Okay, yeah.
And we're doing a spy issue next. We're doing like espionage. That's our theme.
Okay.
My thing is, I think I'll be comparing all 5 of the Bourne movies.
Right.
Originally, I was going to do why Jason Bourne is a more believable spy than James Bond. But I think the editor-in-chief of this, he thought that would piss too many of our readers off.
What did you think of Skyfall? Did you see that movie and like Spectre?
I didn't see Skyfall.
Okay.
In fact, I haven't. There's a lot of James Bond movies I haven't seen post Die Another Day.
Okay. Yeah, I liked Skyfall. Javier Bardem's in it.
Yeah.
He does a phenomenal job.
He's a good actor.
And, Spectre with, what's his name? The guy from Inglourious Bastards.
Christoph Waltz?
Yeah, Christoph Waltz. Yeah, he's in it. And that looks incredible, too. I really like how the director from American Beauty, what's his name?
Sam
Mendes. He's put his own, like, kind of stamp on the James Bond movies,
How many has he directed?
He's done 2. So he did Skyfall. Actually, I think, correct me if I'm probably wrong on this, but I think he did Skyfall and Spectre, and he may have done the movie before Skyfall. I'm not sure, though.
The Quantum of Solace?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
the
that
one
was
with, the Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, and Spectre, I think, are the new movies with Craig. Daniel Craig. But I don't think I've heard rumors he's not going to be part of the franchise anymore.
I heard that too. Yeah, I heard they were looking for Idris Elba, tapping him for the role. Of course, a lot of people are against that because he's black. But I'm like, no. First of all, James Bond is just a name. That's all. Yeah. That's why there have been so many Bonds over different guys being Bond over the years. That's how they explain it within the story.
Yeah.
James Bond's just an identity. Anybody could be him. Any British super soldier spy could be him, no matter what color.
Yeah, and I think it would be an interesting spin. It's just going a different way. Like, I feel like all of the Bond movies kind of do that in little different ways, like with different directors and different actors for James Bond. But
right.
I think this would be a different direction, and I would like it because Idris Elba is like a phenomenal actor.
He's fun to watch. Stringer Bell.
Yeah. I mean, and that show. Yeah, I mean, he was just part of one of the most epic,
greatest TV show ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So, well, let's jump into the Wraith here.
All right.
So this movie was released, I believe, November of 1986.
That's right.
Directed by Michael Marvin, had some pretty pretty upcoming, like, famous actors like Charlie Sheen, Randy Quaid, obviously, for more comedy and sci-fi movies like, what is it, the Independence Day he was in.
And a National Lampoon's movie, especially Christmas Vacation, Cousin Eddie.
Yeah, Days of Thunder, that's another one I think he's in.
Yeah, he was in that.
Which I liked. But yeah, man, this movie is, as you would say, a cult classic. I mean...
Yeah, I got into it when I was a kid, really. The woman that used to babysit me, her grandson and I were babysat together, and we were friends, and he was heavy into action films. So one day we saw it on HBO when we were being babysat, and I'm like, this is so cool. He explained the plot to me, and then I started just reenacting it on my spare time with the few Hot Wheel cars that I had, which resembled, I used the ones that mostly resembled the cars that we see in the movie. And it became like an attention grabber. The few times it was on Channel 20 later on when I was in elementary school, I would call some friends like, yo, you want to do something on Saturday? Just look at this movie. But I got things to do. I want to go outside. Look at the movie. Trust me, you'll like it.
Yeah.
Call me back and they're like, yo, I loved it, dude.
I love the cars too. All these like muscle cars, plus obviously the Dodge M4S Interceptor.
Yeah, Turbo Interceptor they called it,
which were like only made specifically for this movie. Yeah, and they just look so cool and like futuristic.
It does. Yeah, I would if I get rich enough, I want to find that car and buy it just so I can say I got it.
Can you imagine like rolling up to a club in that car? I mean, that would definitely be like several like heads would definitely be turning.
They would be definitely. It's like. That kind of car, it gets too much attention.
Yeah, and another thing I really liked about this movie is the filming and cinematography, because when I watch it, like the racing scenes and how it's shot, it kind of reminded me of like the first season of Miami Vice, like the car chases.
Oh yeah,
and how they're filmed. I was like, wow, this really seems like Miami Vice. Reminded me a lot of like Michael Mann and how he does like stuff in his films.
They probably got some ideas from Miami Vice on how to do that, because season 3 of Miami Vice aired the same year the Wraith debuted in the theaters. And I remember the very first episode of season 3, Crockett, he gets a new car, a white Testarossa. And in that same episode, they have like a car chase scene with him in the city, chasing after, trying to get away from like 2 other guys that are chasing him. And I'm like, white's not even my color for a car, but I would get that car just because it's so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, man, like so many awesome cars in Miami Vice. Made me really love the Ferrari. I mean, so many awesome cars, and yeah, man, that's why this movie is so cool. And
it's a real cult classic. It's a testament to how much of a fan I am. There used to be a place on Georgia Avenue called Video 95. Remember, I found the VHS there. The cover was really severely bootleg, but the videotape itself was fine. I bought it. I even taped it before that off HBO the few times it aired on there. But then when DVDs dropped, it's like, okay. I got 2 copies of it as well, too. But now I'm waiting for the Blu-ray to drop, and I'm like, that's all I'll need. I even found the CD soundtrack for it at Baltimore Comic-Con back in 2010.
Yeah, and then speaking about soundtrack, I mean, there's so many good songs in this soundtrack, and it really kind of captures that period of time.
Oh yeah, it does. Like
great 80s music like Billy Idol, Motley Crue.
And the songs go with the races themselves and even the other scenes that they're using too.
Definitely. And so let's jump into our first song here.
All right.
So this is excuse me, the opening scene credits. Tim Feehan, Where's the Fire, played in the opening credits. Just we see a boyfriend and girlfriend in the Daytona?
Yeah, 84 Daytona, yeah.
Yeah. So many Dodge like cars in this movie.
Yeah, three of them actually, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this is like an ad for Dodge.
Yeah, it is, like product placement.
Yeah, they're like, even the cop cars were Dodge.
Even for a low budget film, like heavy product placement.
Yeah, exactly. So we see this scene where the boyfriend and girlfriend are driving, and then they're being chased by Packard's crew, which is like the gang of car pirates.
Yeah, basically road pirates they call them. Yeah, it's like you see Packard, Minty, and Augie right behind them, and then then there's a roadblock with the remainder of the gang.
Yeah, and I believe this song is actually played at the end of the movie as well.
Yeah, it's bookended. Yeah,
and it's kind of like the signature track, I feel like, for the movie, because you see it in the trailer and you see it in the opening and then the closing credits as well. And I think the lyrics really capture like the vibe of that scene, because it's like, there's something out there. I can hear it calling. I want to hold it, but it's moving too fast. Where's the fire? You kind of feel the tension.
Yeah, there is. It is a tension when it builds up in the song, definitely.
Yeah, and then he's threatening his girlfriend. What's it, Packard? And
yeah, he
played by Nick Cassavetes.
Yeah, Nick Cassavetes. Yeah, who eventually became a better director than he was an actor. Yeah.
Yeah, I always remember him from Entourage when he shows up in the later seasons.
Yeah, what's it called? And Ari said Cassavetes. He was talking to Vince. He's like, Vince, Cassavetes is from a family full of method actors. If the script says eat glass, they'll do that.
And then he eggs him on to do that car scene where he he goes over the fire pit with the car and smashes, ends up getting hurt.
But it's an adrenaline rush from at least a more addictive behavior for Vince.
Yeah, and I always wonder if it was kind of a joke of Cassavetes being in the Wraith, because there's so many car scenes and cars blowing up.
Yeah,
you gotta wonder if Doug Ellen or Mark Wahlberg were kind of trying to have some comedy there. Yeah,
there's a subtle nod to it. Yeah,
it's and kind of making fun of him too, because it's hey, maybe you should stick to directing instead of acting.
Because your career crashed and burned as an actor.
Yeah, but if anyone hasn't seen that season, check it out, because there's a lot of comedy there. But,
there is, and even this opening scene, what's it called, where the song is playing, and when Packard when he walks out of his that Corvette Stingray that he has with that custom paint job,
yeah,
and he starts threatening the guy in the Daytona. He's like, "Why'd you stop me, man? What do you want?" And he says, "Well, let's just say it's pink." And the girl thinks he's talking about her.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, there's so many little one-liners there in the movie.
Yeah, shit they got past the radar, even though it's PG-13.
Yeah, I'm surprised that movie was PG-13. Amount of blood and bad language
and nudity.
And nudity, yeah. I mean, I guess times have changed, right?
They have changed, yeah.
So, but yeah, the artist Tim Feehan was pretty popular 80s musician, and I didn't know this, but he actually did a song for the James Bond
89
franchise. Yeah,
the 89 film License to Kill, where Timothy Dalton played. That's my favorite Bond movie. It's the most violent.
Yeah, I think Benicio del Toro's in that, right?
He is. Yeah, he plays one of the main bad guys, main henchman.
Yeah,
Dario.
Yeah, and it's his first kind of, I feel big debut and on screen.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, so let's go to the next one here for the car race that ensues afterwards. Ozzy Osbourne and Secret Loser is the name of the track. Works perfectly because the boyfriend loses.
He does, but he got cheated. Packard cheated him.
Yeah, he ran him off the road.
But the song fits perfectly with the scene, though. It's I love the melody of it. I love the guitar and Ozzy's voice.
Yeah, and it's off of one of his, I believe most...
The Ultimate Sin, which came out in 84.
Yeah, and... Ozzy's just he's a legend in the metal scene.
Get well, Ozzy.
Yeah, I heard he caught the flu, so he had to cancel a bunch of his tour dates. But yeah, the lyrics work well. Yeah, loser, I'm a secret loser. Loser, I'm a secret leader. Loser fighting a losing battle.
Repenting the holy unknowns. Ozzy had a way with lyrics, even though in a conversation you can't understand a damn thing he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing I really like about this movie is the director picked just the perfect soundtrack. I mean, there's just so many great songs on here,
and a lot of them are exclusive. Some of them they didn't use the ones that have been previously released when they made the soundtrack for it. I guess they probably figured that they already paid them enough to have in the movie, then they have to pay them again to put on the soundtrack.
Yeah, I think one of them was what Motley
Crue's "Smoking in the Boys' Room," Billy Idol's what's it called, Rebel Yell, and Robert Palmer's "Addicted to Love."
Yeah, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. So the next track we're going to talk about is Stan Bush, Hearts vs. Heads. It's played while
Jake is coming to town on a motorbike. You just see him in the background on his bike coming up and down the hill. And we get introduced to the town that they're currently in. It's a fictional town called Brooks in Arizona. Very small town.
Yeah. And it's kind of like that cliche 80s, drive in on the motorcycle. I feel like it's almost like Tom Cruise from what's it, Top Gun, when he drives in on the motorbike.
It does remind me of that, actually. Yeah. And
then ironically, Charlie Sheen would make fun of that and Hot Shots. Yeah. But yeah, it definitely makes me think of that. But Stan Bush is played as he drives in, and I feel like the the lyrics definitely have some foreshadowing in them because Jake's character, you know, actually ends up stealing Packard's girl.
Thing of it is, she was his before Packard's. Think about it.
Oh, I didn't even. Well, yeah, that's another way to think about it, right? Because
Yep.
he ends up getting murdered by Packard's crew.
Yeah, I mean, what's it called? I mean, within the first 20 minutes of the movie, we figure out who the Wraith, the title character is.
Yeah.
He's 3 people.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to admit, it was a little bit confusing for me, but I put it together, you know, with help from you.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
But the lyrics for this song, you know, when somebody else comes along, something in your eyes, it said, "Let's steal away from both of our commitments. Should we go or stay?" And I guess, yeah, it does kind of work more on that front with them kind of stealing from each other.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, actually. Yeah. And what's it called? Like Carrie, she's locked in a relationship with a guy she doesn't love, who just basically said, "You're mine. That's it."
Yeah, and he just kind of like muscles her around, right?
And he's never even smashed neither.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, I ends up getting with another girl later in the movie, right?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I think she's probably one of the girls from the burger joint.
Yeah. So, anyways, the
and Stan Bush, during the same year this came out, he was on the Transformers animated soundtrack. He did the song that was parodied in Boogie Nights, "The Touch." Okay. You got the touch. That one.
Oh, okay. All right. I actually haven't even seen that. Isn't that sad? I haven't seen Boogie Nights.
Paul Thomas Anderson. Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that's a good one. Mark Wahlberg.
Oh yeah, it's like an ensemble cast. That's what made Wahlberg a star, right? Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. Yeah.
Nicole Ari Parker, Don Cheadle, Heather Graham.
Ooh, yeah. I love Heather Graham.
Who doesn't?
So our next song, Ian Hunter, "Wake Up Call." That's played at the lake, I believe, right?
Yeah, the lake scene where everybody's there. Actually, I'm like, okay. I'm like, is that like the go-to spot for like this small town?
Yeah, it's like it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of cliche in a little bit.
It is, but at least we got to see Sherilyn Penn in a 2-piece in that scene. She was like, speaking of her, she was like 21 at the time, and she was dating Johnny Depp. And during the filming of this movie, Depp would hide out in his hotel and not go on the set because he didn't want to distract her. But I'm guessing that's how him and Charlie Sheen met, and they got in together for Platoon.
Really? Oh. I did not know that. That is an interesting little trivia fact there. But yeah, the Ian Hunter song "Wake Up Call," which I feel like is kind of a shout out for that Sherilyn Fenn's character, Carrie
Johnson.
It's like, wake up, you know, this guy Packard's a psycho.
Yeah, he is. He's a psycho. He killed your boyfriend while you were there.
Yeah, it's just like, why would you still be with this guy? One, and then like, why would you not call the cops? You know,
they said she didn't remember later in the film, but what's it called? And when she gets her memory back later, and she starts going at him.
Yeah,
I'm like, why now? Why couldn't you remember that before?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of a little what do they call that? A block or a hole in the writing there.
I guess, yeah. There's a lot of things in this movie that are, I like the film, but let's face it, there are plenty of holes in it.
Yeah.
And frankly, I'm surprised that a novelization wasn't done to fill in the holes, or even an apocryphal comic book from Dark Horse or Marvel to answer some questions.
Yeah. And I think they did those with the Alien films.
They did. Alien, Predator, Terminator, Judge Dredd did it with all of them.
Yeah. Maybe they'll do that. I don't know.
They should. It's like, I mean, with this film, I jokingly say when people say they need to redo this film like they've been doing other 80s films, I'm like, they already did redo The Wraith 8 years after it came out. It was called The Crow.
Yeah. Yeah. That soundtrack, we should talk about that one because that's got a lot. That has a lot of great music on.
It is. I got the soundtrack for that one as well.
Has one of my favorite bands too, Helmet.
Oh yeah,
that song called Milk Toast.
Well, the scene where what's it called? Where's that guy Gideon? He's drinking in the bar and it goes. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah, has that killer like crushing intro riff. It's just like,
oh yeah,
yeah. And a lot of bands I like were heavily influenced by Helmet. I mean, I just love that band.
Yeah, Chevelle, they were influenced by Helmet, certainly.
Very underrated too. Like not a lot of people know about Helmet. You know,
I know they don't.
And they were like big, like hardcore, like influenced like the hardcore metal like kind of scene. So
Yeah, the last prominent thing I remember seeing Helmet on was back in high school. It was the Family Values tour back in 1999.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were on that.
Yeah, I mean, you're lucky you got to see him because I haven't been able to see him yet. But maybe I'll get lucky. But so the next song is by Motley Crue, "Smoking in the Boys' Room," and
it's a cover from some Michigan band. I forget what they're called.
And this song is played while Skank and Gutter Boy pull up in that Barracuda, right?
Yeah, that Plymouth Barracuda, 1966. Yeah,
yeah.
They pull up in there, it's all smoky and whatnot, and Skank and Gutter Boy, we should talk about Packard's gang in a little bit. Skank and Gutter Boy, there's some tweakers, some white trash tweakers who drink chemical car fluid all the time and get high off that.
Yeah, they're like meth heads. Oh man, it's just I don't even know what it was. I guess you figured it out. It was what car fluid or whatever they were drinking.
It's something. It's car fluid. Yeah.
I mean, whatever it is, it's probably illegal and you can't drink it because
you shouldn't drink it.
You shouldn't be drinking it. And I think that it's reflected kind of with the song title, "Smoking in the Boys' Room." It's kind of not allowed.
Not allowed. And Packer doesn't allow his gang. He doesn't really allow his gang to get high. I mean, you see how he reacts when Skank is like, "Oh, I'm tweaking, dude." Packer just grabs a bottle and just throws it away.
Yeah.
And he even gives him some anti-drug advice in this scene.
Yeah, and then he also like threatens to like cut him with that switchblade.
Yeah, so he told what's it called, Skank and Gutter Boy, to let him know if like the new guy, Jake, Charlie Sheen's character, or the burger guy, Billy, who we just befriended, he said, "You see Billy or Jake around Carrie, I want to know about it." It's like, fuck, man, I want to be working in the cars. And he pulls a knife out.
Yeah, I mean, the dude is just like
obsessive.
Packard is just a psycho, man. Just a pure psycho, sociopath.
He is. And he demonstrates that further later on in the scene, like physical harm to himself.
Yeah.
And no emotional feeling about it.
Now I have a question for you. With the Barracuda, it's got an airborne like painting on it.
It does on the side of it, yeah.
Do you think that like Skank was in like Vietnam, or like was he I feel like he's too young.
Too young.
Or in the military maybe, or
something there maybe, or he got the car from a used lot and just souped it up a little bit as best as they could.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah, that was a little bit of like, trivia I was trying to figure out there, because I was like, well, that doesn't really line up with the chronology and like the year, because I'm assuming this is the 80s and it's present day.
It's 80s, yeah. Like you said, there's a lot of holes in this film they never filled.
Yeah. And even like he had like those like really those weird earrings that he was wearing, and they had like a sword. It was like a sword
going through it, yeah.
And I was like, is that like a military like thing? But why would people
or
in the
gang thing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird.
Packer's gang is an assortment of guys. And Augie, he looks like a suburban kid trying to play a gang member. That's Griffin O'Neill, Ryan O'Neill's son.
Yeah. And
you got Minty, who looks like a preppy tax accountant with a varsity Letterman jacket.
Yeah.
And Skank and Gutter Boy, the white trash tweakers, and Clint Howard's character, Rughead, the scientist of the group, who drives a late 70s Chevy pickup.
And you said Minty was like, was he like, he had like a Wall Street Journal, like, or something?
Wall Street Journal and with a green accountant visor.
Yeah,
he was the businessman of the group. I guess he handled all the stolen cars they fenced out to other people and whatnot.
I never understood that, though. It's like you have all these guys that don't really sound like they're intelligent at all, and then you have some like ex-accountant.
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all, really. It's like, well, it makes sense to have that guy in the group, really, to manage the finances.
Yeah,
it looks like he was doing a good job of it too when we later see in the other scenes.
Yeah,
but like the assortment of characters is like, how did y'all end up with this guy?
Yeah, and then I mean, so back to the song, I think that the lyrics definitely illustrate that there's something going on in that car that they probably shouldn't be drinking, like motor fluid or whatever, because it's probably going to impair you, and you shouldn't be doing that because you won't be able to drive and maybe kill somebody.
Exactly. And Packard tells him after he's done threatening them, he says, "Oh yeah, Skank, do me a favor, would you? Get rid of that zombie piss you're drinking before it turns you into a mushroom." "No problem, Pack." "Yeah, right." And then Skank goes back to drinking it. And Brooke's like, mushroom.
Yeah, that's like a PSA video for not drinking and driving, right?
It is. Even if your sociopathic boss is telling you not to be doing them drugs, you got a problem.
Yeah, exactly. So then we go to our next song, which is probably like one of my favorites. It's Robert Palmer, "Addicted to Love,"
from his 1986 album Riptide.
Yeah, and This song had, I think, one of the most famous music videos.
Oh yeah, the models playing the guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah, some guitarists taught them forms will be able to move back and forth like that, but they're not actually playing it at all.
They don't know how to play any of the instruments.
I taped the video when VH1 used to have pop-up videos back in the 90s where they give like little tidbits about the video, the song, and the artist, and other random trivia facts or whatever.
What do they call that? Like pop-up videos?
Pop-up video, yeah. I remember I taped the episode where this song was used as a featured video.
When VH1 was actually good.
Yeah, I haven't watched VH1 in years.
The only thing I really like were those pop-up videos, and then behind the music was really good.
And the hip hop honors, they did their research for that.
Yeah, but this song, man, it's like just got so much sexuality in it, and it fits in. It fits in well.
Yeah,
it fits in well with the scene. So
it does. Yeah, the burger joint, Big K's Burgers is what it's called, and it's used in the montage of Billy, who's like the only cook in that place. And all the girls, including Cheryl and Fenn, on roller skates, going around being servers and whatnot to the people that are posted outside there.
Yeah, they're wearing all those like kind of sexy
mini skirts and whatnot.
Yeah,
on roller skates. It's like, but my question with that is like, who pays you guys?
Yeah,
who pays you guys? Who owns that place? And Cheryl and Fenn, when we first see her in the film, she's walking out of a single family home on some street in the town, and I'm like, first of all, how do you afford that house on that salary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably her parents' house, right?
I don't know. I don't see her being muscled by I don't see her as a teenage girl being muscled by Packard.
Yeah. I mean, were her parents, right? They would have been like helping her out.
Yeah.
Or something. Like this guy would have been arrested by now.
Should have been, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but great song nonetheless. Then we go to our next song, which is Lion.
Oh, yeah.
Power Love.
Power Love, yeah. I remember I found the EP, the self-titled EP. Well, not self-titled, but the title track. The title track for this song. Not the title track for this song, but the album was featured on of the same name, Power Love.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually the first song on there, right? I was looking for it for years because... Oh man, this is during the age of Kazaa and of LimeWire when I was in college. I would search like long nights of like, where is this song at? And somebody had it, and I would wait like 4 hours for the download, even with 56K.
Yeah, the days of Kazaa, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all them MP3 services post Napster. Each one of them came laced with their own special computerized STDs,
viruses, and adware, and all of that stuff that you never want to get on your computer.
Fuck no.
But yeah, this is played when the Wraith approaches the garage.
Yeah, the garage scene. Yeah, that was a cool scene. Really, I mean, right before this, we go into the garage. You just hear the riff from. Then we go right in, and they're all working on the cars they've stolen. Yeah,
and then even the lyrics kind of match up perfectly with that whole like kind of creeping up there, you know, because
I'm creeping up on you. What you gonna do?
Yeah, power love, creeping up on you. Power love, what you gonna do?
And that whole scene was vicious. I mean, the Wraith just goes in there with that little shotgun. I'm like, if you're so extraterrestrial, what you got a wooden handled shotgun for?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, that shotgun was the same shotgun that was used by Muldoon and Jurassic Park. It's that Spaz. I think it's like a Spaz 12. And it looks like, but it does look like a real futuristic weapon, though. I mean, because it's got that retractable stock, which I laugh about, because why would you put a wooden stock on a shotgun that has a retractable stock?
I never understood that either. I
was watching that. I was like, what the hell were they doing here? And they put all this like stuff on their lights. And
did you think people wouldn't notice?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a cool scene nonetheless. I mean, he goes in there and just intimidates everybody but Packard, who literally stands his ground.
Yeah, he has like that weird looking face. Like he was totally unamused that this guy was like blowing away all these cars that he has with the shotgun. He was just like, that's not a big deal.
Slightly annoyed, yeah.
Yeah, slightly annoyed.
And he didn't feel nothing when the dude put the shotgun point blank right in his face. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, he's like
real sociopath.
Yeah, and I guess he's not afraid of shotguns because that's what he used to kill.
Jake, yeah. In the same scene, they show the flashback what happened when the Wraith reveals his identity by letting the scope of his helmet go up.
Yeah.
Rughead recognizes it and gets a look of fear in his face, and then the flashback happens after they stabbed and beat Jake to death, put him in the back of a Dodge,
and
use a shotgun to blow it up. That that Dodge they blow him up in probably is the Wraith car reincarnated too.
Yeah, yeah. And then you know what the thing that's funny is that the guy who plays Rughead is Clint Howard, which is Ron Howard's brother.
Yeah, he's like that guy. Who is that guy in the film?
Yeah, it's like because you've seen him. I know I've seen him in Apollo 13 and Backdraft. Yeah, he's kind of annoying in the Wraith. I'm not gonna lie. Like you're just like, dude, stop talking, man. Like
sometimes, yeah, but it's like he's the only one. He's the only good one in there. Actually.
Yeah, he's actually like the only good apple out of that whole crew.
Yeah, he is really, and he didn't have nothing to do with Jake's death, so that's why he got spared.
Yeah, and he was the only one that survived at the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
like you didn't kill me, so we're good.
And then our next song by Honeymoon Suite. Those were the days. I like this song. This song is like it's like
memories fading.
It's just like real chill. One. Yeah, it's real chill, but it's kind of one that like it's very catchy. You would remember it if you heard it. And it's played in the scene right where Randy Quaid's like sitting outside of the burger joint,
spying on Packer's gang as they show up. Yeah. And then Packer's gang, they're frustrated because they can't find the Wraith anywhere.
Yeah.
And what's it called? Randy Quaid's character, when he gets his burger, he starts taking the pickles off. I'm like, that looks like a good burger, actually, too.
Yeah. It's also funny, too, when he's like drinking coffee later on in the movie and he's talking to what's it, Jake's brother or Billy. Billy. Yeah, and he's like pouring all the sugar in his coffee, and I'm like, that's how I pour my coffee. I put a ton of sugar.
Yeah, like you take sugar, you take coffee with your sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was just sitting there like pouring the whole damn like sugar vial in there.
Yeah, just like needed a prop or something just to do.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, but
it is in this scene where they're just staking out, waiting for. And you said they foreshadow the next race and the death of Minty.
Yeah.
Let me see. How so? Can you explain that?
The life's lessons sometimes learn, that lyric. Mm-hmm. I feel like Minty, he's like, oh, I want to race the Wraith. You know, even after the two deaths of one death, sorry, of Augie, you would think like, dude, why would you try to race this guy? Like one of your crew members already got killed trying to race the Wraith, and it's like now you want to go and do this. Like, I mean, I don't know. To me, it's like I wouldn't race that guy.
I wouldn't race that guy at all. Nah, I mean, they didn't see what happened. Nah, but it's like,
why even test it? Why like?
And the guy was just at your house last night with a fucking shotgun and fucked up your Trans Am.
Yeah,
and that's why you really want to race him because he messed up your nice 1977 Pontiac Firebird.
Yeah,
the mustard color.
And there's so many muscle cars in this movie. I mean, like you got Firebirds, you got Barracudas, like,
and even the first race in the film, the what's it called? When Packard played the kid, race the kid in the Daytona, that wasn't a fair match from Jump Street.
No,
a Corvette against a Daytona, fuck out of here.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the Corvette's going to win. I mean,
but he had to cheat to win, nonetheless.
Yeah, which makes you hate the character, Packard's character, even more.
It does, yeah.
And he wears that. I just think it's so dumb how they wear those helmets too. It's like, come on.
And Packard's wearing a leather jacket outside in the Arizona heat.
Yeah.
Although that jacket with the bull's skull on the back of it, that's really cool.
Yeah. You know, and then like we were just talking about, it's foreshadowing for the next song and the next scene. Lion, Never Surrender.
I was going to say, I don't mean to cut you off. Something occurred to me about the last song, Honeymoon Suite. The lyrics, sitting, waiting for the day. And then when Packard gets up to leave, we see what's it called? The Wraith somehow left a note in his car saying, I'll be on Lookout Mountain Road waiting, underlined.
Yeah, so like it kind of matches up with the letter that he left, the lyrics from Honeymoon Suite. These were the days.
Oh yeah,
those were the days. Sorry, that's cool. I didn't pick up on that.
I just picked on it just now. But this next one you're about to get into, this is my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, and this is a pretty crucial racing scene. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's intense.
And it gets and also right before the race happens, it gets you into Packer's thought patterns too. Because when he pulls his shotgun out, and the cops are already staked out, ready for the race to happen, even though they can't do shit really.
Yeah.
Packard's been ready to shoot the Wraith with the shotgun, but Skank stops him, and he's like, Packard's like, "Why is it you continue to question my authority? Because, man, got a big audience with Rughead over there, man. First degree murder." Never mind, you're right.
You do a good skank accent there.
I've seen this movie like 100 times since I was 4.
But yeah, this movie is I'm sorry, this scene rather is very intense. It's a pretty intense car race.
And the digital radio killer that they tried to put in the Wraith's car that Rughead made, it's like, what? Are you serious?
Yeah, it's like
it's not gonna do shit to him. Talking about you zap his electrical system.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a supernatural car here. This is like that you've never seen before.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a Dodge M4S Interceptor, man. This car is freaking badass, you know?
It's like, you try to run, we'll zap your electrical system. And he opens the hood, what's in the back.
It's like I don't even know what to do with this.
Go ahead, put it in there. It's not going to work.
I love how, like, he never talks, too. Like, the Wraith, like, never says a word, like, when he's like, hey, are you ready to race? And he just like revs his engine. He doesn't like even say a word, you know, acknowledging
not even acknowledging the other person. Nah.
Which adds to the kind of mystical, like, you know, theme of it.
Which speaking of which, you notice how every time the Wraith, he kills one of the guys after the drag race or whatever, and his car reconstitutes itself.
Yeah.
And there's always like a metal bar.
Yeah. What is that?
I mean, somebody said that that the metal bars, they were on his body at one point when we first see him in the film, in the opening scene. And because of how Jake was killed and beaten and whatnot, it's like they said that those bars, they resemble the ones that are used in patients who suffer from like severe physical trauma or injury.
Oh, okay.
So I'm guessing each person he kills, the metal disappears and his trauma disappears too.
Right. Okay. And I didn't understand why like their bodies would just still be intact after that.
Except for their eyes. The eyes would be scooped out.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was. They weren't burnt up, no nothing.
And I even think, you know, even the characters like Loomis was like, this is so weird. Why are they not like dog meat?
Exactly, because at first when he first sees him, he's like, God, that's ugly. Loomis, the kid ought to be dog meat. So he takes off the glass like, wait a minute. This kid, it was like 1,000 degrees in that car. At least.
Yeah.
Where's his eyes?
Yeah. I missed that part, the eyes part. I mean,
Augie, after his death, when Loomis first appears.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And one of his deputies was like, Loomis, I think you should see this. And they show him Augie's body.
So this is the second Lion song on here, though.
It is, yeah. And Lion, 86 was probably their biggest year because they had 2 songs on this movie. And like the opening song in the Transformers movie as well.
Yeah. So they were a pretty popular band back in the, you know, mid-'80s.
Mid-'80s, yeah. But this song right here, this race, Minty's Trans Am against the Wraith's car.
Yeah.
And then the cops are coming, and then they got to get the race going off.
Yeah.
Like, what are y'all cops going to do? Y'all can't even follow these dudes. And it's like they're racing on the highway, and there are still other passengers on the highway, too, that they got to go around.
Yeah,
which reminds me of the second race when he races Augie, and Augie tells the Wraith beforehand, "Stay on your side of the road, man." And as soon as they take off, Augie's forced to like switch lanes, like fucking hypocrite.
Reminds me of that scene in GoldenEye where they're like the opening, or it's a scene where Bond is racing. What's her name? Anatab Xena.
Yeah,
and he's in the classic. What's that? Aston Martin. He's in the Aston Martin, the silver Aston Martin, and then Xena's in the I think it's the Ferrari. Like,
yeah, it is.
She's in like a red Ferrari. Probably a Ferrari you would have seen in Miami Vice. But yeah, that reminds me because it's got those winding turns, like you know, and they're on the mountain.
You're right. You're right about that. And also, like you said about this scene right here, the lyrics, I was just looking at the lyrics again. And you said it reflects Minty's mindset. Yes, it does, because the dummy just kept going even after the Wraith, who was parallel to him at one scene where he thinks, I got to lead upon him, and the Wraith's like, goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you should have stopped your car right there.
Yeah, never surrender. And
forfeit.
Yeah. And it cost him in the end. You know?
He kept going and couldn't stop in time. And it's like, okay, but you killed the guy. You helped kill the guy. That's what you get.
Yeah. So definitely a revenge, kind of a revenge flick too, when you think about it.
It is a revenge film. It's basically, I've told people before, this is what High Plains Drifter would have been like if it involved a ghost story and muscle cars.
Yeah. And kind of like you mentioned Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, I consider it like a supernatural predecessor to like the Fast and the Furious in some sense, if only because of the car theme.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have for the next track, Bonnie Tyler, Matter of the Heart. And then this is played when Jake and Carrie are like making out outside of her house.
Yeah, I mean, At this point, really, she likes Jake, and he likes her, of course. But they just came from like a chase against Skank and Gutter Boy in the Barracuda, and Jake was just on his motorbike with Carrie the whole time. And he got her through it safe. And I think, like, what's it called? Tension of that, she definitely needs to kiss the guy.
Yeah. It's going to happen sooner or later, right?
It is sooner or later, yeah. And given what they're talking about, like, what's it called? Jake is telling Carrie that, what's it called? Packard, he's really just a coward. That's why he has all the gang around him.
Yeah.
And tells her, one day you're going to have to stand up for yourself against him. When you do, you'll be free of him.
Yeah. And to, like, Bonnie Tyler, her voice, she's got a very distinct voice.
A very husky, like almost smoky voice, kind of like what Kathleen Turner would sound like if she was British and a singer.
Yeah, or maybe even, I don't know, I don't want to say she sounds exactly like Stevie Nicks, but Stevie Nicks had I feel like a little bit of a raspy voice.
Kind of a rasp, but not deep, but not throaty.
Yeah, like a hint of it. And but yeah, I like this song a lot.
This is one of the ones I was looking for in college too, and I was elated when I found it.
Yeah, I was having a hard time finding some of her stuff as well.
The only songs I have from her are her main song, "Total Eclipse of the Heart," the longer version, not the single version.
And I think that's the one she was like really famous for.
Yeah, she is. And also the song called "Ravishing," and the music, the beat for that song was actually used as Hulk Hogan's intro theme music before they decided to give it to Bonnie Tyler. And a song called "I'm Holding Out for a Hero at the End of the Night." That was used in many 80s films, like Who's Harry Crumb, Short Circuit Part 2.
Okay. Yeah, and I feel like the lyrics work perfectly with the like romantic aspect of it. You know, a good love only starts when you start to lose control.
Yeah.
And she's calling out your name, and she needs you in the night. So there you go. True love right there.
And Packard's watching in the distance, and he's smoking a cigarette all jealous and shit.
Like a creeper.
Uh-huh.
Like a creeper.
And he's like from the way he looks like he's very nearby, too. How do you not recognize his car?
Yeah. It's just maybe a little plot hole there, right? Like,
it's a big one,
or continuity issue, or
probably yes, definitely.
And then our next song we have here is by Lamarca, "Hold On Blue Eyes."
I couldn't find no information about Lamarca, not even on Discogs, which has music info on every vinyl record ever released.
Yeah, I was having a hard time finding stuff too on this guy, and I feel like maybe this is like his only like release, like
probably. I mean, a lot of these people, they get like one release that they're known for on a soundtrack, even if the soundtrack's pretty obscure except to a few cult fans.
Yeah, but I feel like the title of the song works perfectly because Carrie has blue eyes,
and she has blue eyes, and it just,
she wears a blue bathing suit too at the
lake
the lake for their like love scene.
Their love scene, yeah.
So yeah,
and I like the scene too because what's it called? It's like. It foreshadows a lot of things right there. You see the cuts on Charlie Sheen's back, from his previous life, which is partly how he was killed.
Yeah,
and it's like, lady, you're making love to him. You don't feel those things on his back, and you say he reminds you of your first love, Jake. You don't make the connection yet.
Yeah, that's another thing I was wondering too. I was like, how do you not see those? They're like very obvious.
It is, yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, another continuity or plot issue there. Mm-hmm. And then we go to the infamous Billy Idol, Rebel Yell. Love this track.
Loved used in so many movies. And a year prior to this, in 1985, it was used in the Matthew Bright movie, The Legend of Billie Jean.
Okay.
The mall scene where she's being chased. It was like a sped up version of it, but that version was really, it sounded better than all the other ones I've heard.
And this scene, I believe it was used.
The song?
The song in this movie. This was used. I think it was right before the Wraith kills Skank and Gutter Boy, right?
It's in the scene where what's it called? Where they're all working in the warehouse, what's left of the gang.
Yeah.
Packard says, "Hey, genius, take care." Like he knows something's gonna happen. Yeah. Which is why he's bouncing quick.
Yeah, and I think the sound of the song Rebel Yell, it's kind of got this like chaotic, like sound to it, just the way the guitars are used and the synths and everything. So I think it just fits well with how crazy this entire scene is, because essentially the Wraith goes like, goes kamikaze and drives his car right in there and blows up the warehouse,
which is what Skank and Gutter Boy were about to do, like go crazy. And like when when Rughead was taking his blueprints, he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And Skank's like, "We're gonna go screw around. Why? You want to come?" And what's it called? When they're loading up their new car that they got after the Barracuda got destroyed. And what's it called? Skank's like, let's fill this butt up with some 13. Let's cruise. Scare up some poodles. And then McGutter was like, you got it, Skanko, because I'm a 4-day virgin. Whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, I was like, what is he talking about?
Virgin.
Makes no sense. No sense.
Yeah, well, he's an illiterate, redneck, white trash motherfucker. It's like, you heard him what he said in the other film when Loomis was trying to talk to him. He's like, well, we know our constipational rights, sir. You can't just...
Constipational right.
I mean, you sound like that dude from In Living Color, Damon Wayne's character, Oswald.
Yeah. Dude, that was definitely, there's definitely some comic relief with that character and how stupid he is.
It is. And so when they get killed, you don't have much sympathy for them.
Yeah. Then they're kind of annoying too. I mean,
like, what are y'all doing? What is your purpose in the gang? I mean, Gutter Boy at least put some work in. Skank, Packard had to make him work, threaten him to make him work.
Yeah. He's like the turtle, right? Of the entourage. Just like, what does this guy do?
Yeah, he don't smoke no weed, but he'll drink chemical car fluid.
Yeah. But we go to our next song, Jill Michaels, Young Love, Hot Love.
Not the same Jill Michaels, the fitness guru, not the same one.
Yeah, not Jillian Michaels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was looking this one up, and every time on Google, Jillian Michaels was popping up. I'm like, no, not the fitness Jillian Michaels.
Yeah, Discogs is the best place to go to for obscure artists that only had like one song on a soundtrack.
Yeah, so this song is it's played while it was the scene I was talking about earlier when Billy is talking to Loomis, and Loomis is like pouring all that sugar in his coffee.
And Billy's the only one in the kitchen. He's the only cook for Big Case. He's like, Loomis is like, can I have a word with you? What do you need? I'm swamped. but not so much that you can't make conversation with the guy about your brother or answer a few questions.
Yeah, he's like, I'm swamped, and he's like, but I'm not doing any work. Like he's like not doing anything. There's like nobody there.
It's like second nature to him at that point.
Yeah.
And like, what's it called? The drum beat, the opening drum riff of the song. It's like, how has nobody sampled this yet? This is perfect for a hip hop producer.
Yeah. And then we go to the next track with James House and Bad Mistake.
He's a country singer now, I think. That's all I could find about him after this.
Yeah, but I guess it fits perfectly with the scene because Billy tries to like stand up for
Packard.
Yeah, and he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, it's like, what's it called? Packard just says, you're going to end up dead like your brother. That set Billy. I was like, come on, turn around and face me. But then like Packard, he's bigger than him, and Billy's look like, oh, I think I made a mistake. Yes, you did.
Yes. Reminds me of that scene in The Sopranos when the JT, the screenwriter, he's like sitting in there with all the like teaching the screenwriting class, and then Chris and his crew walk in and like beat him up, and he's like, you guys sat here and did nothing.
And he does say that in the film too. Billy's like, you bastard chicken shits,
yeah,
let him take her.
Yeah. After I feel like he was mad that they didn't help him either, you know?
Yeah, they didn't help him at all. Nah, I'm like, the Packard has a whole town in fear, but it's like he only has a knife on him. He doesn't have a gun or nothing on him.
Yeah, I mean, like,
and he can't fight all of you.
Yeah. So I don't know, man, but it was kind of a crazy scene. And then of course then you have the race with
the final race, where Packard, he puts the helmet on, like, you want a race? I'll show you a race. I'm like, dude, all your people got killed by this motherfucker, and you have a death wish? In his last words to Carrie, we'll talk about this later. No, you won't. I'm like, no, you won't. Even if you make it out alive, she's not going to fuck with you no more. She stood up to you. Yeah,
and then ironically, he's the late one, right?
Yeah, he's the late. That's funny, yeah.
But yeah, man, this movie was cool. Loved it. Loved the car races. Definitely a cult classic. And, it's great soundtrack, too.
Definitely a great soundtrack. I love the movie. It's a cult classic movie. I will always watch this movie, even when I have it on Blu-ray. If it's coming on Showtime or somewhere, I'll still stop what I'm doing and watch it. Just like Casino.
Yeah, Casino. I mean, you can't.
Although Casino's longer and a lot more layered, but
yeah, but I mean, it's so entertaining.
It is, as is the Wraith.
And I'm thinking for the next episode we do, maybe down the road, we should do Miami Vice, man. We should either do the show or even the movie,
or even a season.
Yeah, or even a season.
Because there's a lot of songs going on in just one season alone. Like when I watched season one, when the time we first met, I actually bought season one on DVD from FYE.
Okay.
And like I was amazed at all the songs they were able to get the licensing for, like a few Phil Collins songs, Foreigner, what's it called? Animals.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and there's so much music. It's almost like
a music video.
It's almost like The Sopranos. Remember, we were trying to cover that, and we had to actually like not include some of the stuff that we wanted to talk about. There's just too many songs in it.
That and Casino as well too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's like Martin Scorsese just like put so much music in there.
I tell you, we'd have better luck with The Wire, probably. I mean, music was not a big factor in that TV show, although they did make use of songs.
Yeah.
But like most prominently, like in the intro and at the ending montage of each season.
Yeah, yeah. There was, it seemed like different singers would actually sing that song for each season, right?
At the opening of each season, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's other ones like the Pogues that they included. And
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, McNulty.
McNulty and the Irish wakes that they would have. And
Yeah.
like they even included a few underground rap songs in season 1, like Unfriendly Game by Master Ace and what's it called? CK1 by Cage.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking maybe we could do the movie too, Miami Vice the movie, because that's a really good soundtrack as well.
It does have a good soundtrack.
It has like, I know it has like a cover of Phil Collins in the Air Tonight by like Nonpoint.
You cannot cover that song. You cannot.
People always get mad. I actually think it's pretty good.
I mean, some songs you can cover. I mean, like when Disturbed covered "Land of Confusion" or by Genesis, or "Shout" by Tears for Fears. I'm like, y'all did all right.
Yeah, yeah. But well, hey man, thanks for doing this. This was great, kind of getting back together again. And
Oh, it has.
thanks for dealing, with my Patriots trolling.
Oh, no problem. I expect to get a lot more trolls from people because of Bob Kraft's alleged solicitations.
All right, man. Well, hey, thanks for doing this, and we'll do another one soon.
Oh, we will, no doubt.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, you too.
This podcast is available on my YouTube channel, RoadTunes Reviews. It's also available on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and other major podcast distributors as well. So if you don't mind, please leave me some feedback. I'd really appreciate that. If you'd like to connect with me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter. My Twitter handle is @RoadTunesRevs. I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on the Untapped app. My username is Brewtuned. This is Andrew signing off. Cheers. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and follow RoadTunes Reviews on Blogger, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And as always, thank you so much for your support.